Because they're farther out at sea, combat swimmers face a higher risk of getting lost, and it's imperative they know exactly where they are at all times. To solve this new DARPA hard problem, the agency developed another breakthrough, the Tactical Underwater Navigation System, or TUNS. The TUNS unit combines an advanced compass and depth gauge with a state-of-the-art sonar system, giving the warfighter his exact position at all times.
The thing that's nice about DARPA is there's no limits to what you can try. The sky's the limit, and no idea is a stupid idea. And so all that does is set all these projects up for success in the long run because they listen to everybody.
DARPA innovations enable our combat swimmers to steer a safe course through hostile waters. And in Iraq, DARPA is helping our warfighters to face their deadliest threat. Improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, have killed over 1,700 Americans and wounded many more. They can be buried by the side of the road, hidden in ordinary objects, and triggered by cell phones. IEDs pose an invisible and ever-present danger. The DARPA hard problem: locate these explosive devices without setting foot inside the deadly blast radius. DARPA's solution: the MAV, for Micro Air Vehicle.
When the MAV successful flight test was first publicized, I got a call from a warfighter currently deployed who said, "We need that now."
The MAV was developed to have a unique hover and stare capability.
They really needed something that would allow them to see over the next hill or around the next corner. The ability to go to a target area and persistently stare at that area and give them situational awareness.
Weighing only 4 pounds, the MAV's remarkable motor delivers as much power as a 25-pound lawnmower engine and literally sucks the MAV through the air.
Air is sucked into that duct by this fan. That's creating the aerodynamic lift.
The ducted fan air vehicle configuration provides vertical flight capability. Plus, it has no exposed moving parts for safety around soldiers, Marines, and airmen.
It can actually fly backwards, forwards, anything it needs to do to compensate for the wind and to put its sensor on its target.
The MAV sensors include a camera that can detect and recognize man-sized targets at more than 800 feet in daylight and more than 400 feet at night. But today, Honeywell Program Manager Vaughn Fulton and his team will determine whether the MAV can locate a much smaller target, a concealed simulated IED. In a nearby control center, technicians monitor the MAV's data.
It's probably equalized now. You may not see much, but it'll be a good test of the system.
So John, during this test, we're going to simulate that there's a suspicious device and we'll fly the IR over, see whether or not the device is hot.
All right, pre-flight complete. We are good. Video record on. Takeoff command is sent. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Using its heat-sensitive infrared camera, the MAV can detect the temperature differential between the ground and an alien object in the dirt.
Let's see if we can get in a little bit closer to the constraint where I can move the vehicle for this test.
They spot their target. The MAV's infrared camera detects what the naked eye cannot.
Definitely something man-made, different temperature than the surrounding area, so certainly something that you would want to go investigate.
Okay, I've got 26% battery, 25% fuel.
All right, John, let's bring it in for landing.
The AV has landed.
The MAV brings a game-changing technology to the battlefield, something the enemy has not seen before and a capability they're not ready to combat.
Our troops face another deadly threat, and unlike IEDs, this one's not man-made. With temperatures in Iraq and Afghanistan that can reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes the environment itself is the enemy. Thousands of our troops have suffered from heat exhaustion.
DARPA likes to support projects that will be game changers. In other words, give us a real advantage. And if you talk to any soldier who has been deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, you ask them what is the major limiting factor for their activities over there, they'll say heat.
Heat can limit physical performance and hamper judgment, and unless the body is quickly cooled, heat stroke can lead to brain damage or death. At a Stanford University lab, scientists Dennis Grahn and Craig Heller have developed a remarkable breakthrough.
We have to be able to run experiments under realistic conditions. We're not in Iraq, so we have a hot room, and then we simulate battle conditions by the clothing that is worn.
A biological chemical warfare suit, heavily insulated for protection, offers the worst-case scenario for overheating in battle.
Now what this is going to be a device that will measure your body temperature at the level of your heart, because all blood coming back from all regions of the body comes to the heart. So that's the best integrated temperature of your body. So when you get this all the way up your nose, the end of it is going to be right at the level of your heart. And for good measure, how about a helmet? Okay, so now we're going to go into the hot room. And hot room is at 42 centigrade, that's about 108 Fahrenheit, so a nice cool day in the desert. Okay, Steve, we'll use the treadmill here on the left. Treadmill up to a 13% grade now. Pretty good workout. Well, we have Steve exercising in the heat, and we're going to leave him in there exercising until his core temperature gets up to 39 degrees. That's about 102 Fahrenheit. So would represent a healthy fever.
When his core temperature reaches 102 degrees Fahrenheit, he is even more heavily insulated.
Okay, Steve, we've now simulated full biological chemical warfare gear by insulating your hands, which would normally be covered with gloves, your face and head, which would be covered by gas mask, goggles, helmet, and your feet, which would be covered by boots. How do you feel?
Kind of warm.
Kind of miserable, huh? Okay.
Steve is left to rest in the hot room, but his temperature still hovers at a feverish 102 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, Steve, time's up. So let's make you feel a little bit better.
Craig will cool Steve off using a revolutionary device. They call it the glove.
The gloves are activated, so now we can see how much heat we can actually suck out of your hands.
All right, looking forward to it.
The cool water, which is perfusing this metal cylinder, is going to take heat away from your hands. The hot blood is coming into your hand. It's being distributed in this big network of blood vessels just under the palm, and that heat's being transferred to the metal cone. The cool blood is going right back to your heart and being distributed through the core of your body.
Feels good.
Even though he is heavily insulated, as the cool water circulates through the glove, Steve's temperature immediately starts to drop and will soon reach a safe level. The glove that can protect warfighters from heat stroke can also save the lives of those suffering from extreme cold, including combat swimmers, who sometimes spend 8 hours in freezing water to perform a mission.
How are you feeling at this point?
Feeling a little bit cold.
Dennis Grahn is testing whether he can stop research assistant Tim Wolf from shivering, even in the chill of an ice bath that simulates the extreme cold a combat swimmer must survive.
Let me see your hands here. Yeah, you can feel they've pretty much closed down. Let's take a look at the palm on the infrared here. Your face is cooling off pretty well. Your nose is definitely shut down. Okay, you reach over and feel your ears compared to the rest of the skin temperature, and they're very much colder. Your core temperature is starting to fall down now, and you can see it's a pretty decent decline, so I think that it's about time to start putting some heat in and see what happens.
I'm not
Will
going to
that-
complain.
Will that work for you?
So,
The way we're going to do it is stick your hand into this little device here that creates a slight negative pressure. What that does is it draws blood into your hand. And so you've got your arterial blood flow out through here, being warmed up in these heat exchangers and then going right back to your body core where it's circulating around and the heart delivers it to the core organs. Okay, and you look on the infrared, you can see little spots on your arms are starting to warm up, like right there in your elbow region. Superficial veins are starting to light up as the warm blood returning to the heart is warming the tissues as it passes through.
it only took about 30 seconds or a minute before I started to feel a lot more comfortable. I feel a little cold still, but I'm not shivering, which is a good thing. I think that if this was a real situation and I was really stuck in cold water like this, that these things would be a real lifesaver.
As dangerous as the physical stress of extreme environments is the mental stress of combat. There too, DARPA readies the warfighter to step into harm's way. To help our troops prevail in the second-by-second ordeal of combat, DARPA experts have developed a remarkable innovation in mission rehearsal.
You're being transported out to the area. On the way there, you open up your laptop, and now you see a full 3D recreation of the area you're going to be in. You've never been there before, but it's been built up from you from actually accurate data, so that when you land on the ground, it feels like you've already been there before.
The real-world 3D simulation combines the latest satellite data, ground photographs, and drone footage for a depiction of the combat site so accurate the warfighter can rehearse his mission as never before.
Just the ability to be able to travel the terrain in a mission set in a virtual environment is invaluable. Walking terrain you've never seen before has its own hazards, but if I could have just the rehearsal of walking the terrain, that's tremendous.
The real-world 3D simulation gives the warfighter an extra edge to avoid deadly surprises in combat. Another critical operation for troops is intelligence gathering through surveillance missions, but flying over enemy territory is extremely dangerous. A recent DARPA breakthrough, the A-160, can conduct surveillance at high altitude over long distances without placing a human life at risk.
The A-160 does not have a pilot in the traditional sense. The people in the ground control station, including myself, have control over the bird through a data link where we give it airspeed, heading, velocity commands.
The pilotless A-160 can hover at 20,000 feet and has set a world record for a helicopter of its size, flying 18.7 hours without refueling.
A-160 is clearly a game changer. Its ability to take off and land vertically and its very, very long endurance and its high altitude operation gathers together a set of capabilities that no other aircraft has ever had before. Today, at a secure landing field in Victorville, California, the A-160 will be tested carrying a payload that is itself a breakthrough, a radar system called Forester.
The Forester's most impressive capability is the ability to see through a number of layers of tree foliage. Single, double canopy, we'll go through that like a hot knife through butter. So any place where people can hide in foliage, we can find.
Today's flight test will assess whether the A-160 can safely rotate the massive Forester antenna. Can the A-160 deploy the antenna for radar detection at various angles without endangering its stability in flight? The aircraft is towed into position. The technicians await the takeoff command. Shadowed by a chase helicopter, the A-160, carrying the Forester antenna, climbs to its programmed altitude for the test to begin. Altitude, 5,000 feet. Can the pilotless aircraft remain stable as it deploys the radar antenna for the first time subjecting the aircraft to maximum torque? It's time to find out. The radar antenna is deployed. The test director delivers the official verdict.
The antenna was rotated a full plus minus 180 degrees, and we flew with the antenna out at 90 degrees as well, so a lot of good data was captured. Today's flight completed a lot of the unknown territory and questions we had with the antenna installed on the A160. We're very, very pleased with the performance.
The flight test determined that the A160 could safely deploy the Forester antenna at any angle without endangering the aircraft's stability.
The A160 can be operated in fully autonomous mode, where we give it a mission plan and then it goes through and executes those commands with no input from the operator.
Capable of flying complex missions without a pilot, the A160 can carry a 1,000-pound payload, weapons, supplies, and more.
It has the potential to go in and perhaps rescue somebody from a situation that you wouldn't be able to get a person out of otherwise. The aircraft could fly it autonomously, perhaps get that person out and bring them back to safety.
No matter how complex the technology, the A160, like many DARPA innovations, has a simple goal: to save lives. For 50 years, no idea has been dismissed as impossible if it could protect America's warfighters and keep surprise on our side. And the next 50 years, the people who know DARPA's secrets can only hint at the surprises to come.
There are many game changers that we're working on. Some are as dramatic as having aircraft that stay up for 5 years.
What I see happening in the future is that you'll take precision, bring it down to the level of a bullet, where you actually guide a bullet through flight and change course to the target.
Aircraft which reconfigure themselves in flight. They do it automatically, perhaps a little bird-like. They change their wing configuration. They can maneuver in ways that we've not done it in the past.
Many of the things DARPA works on are classified, so we can't tell you what they are. But what I can tell you is many of those developments are going to change our lives.
In the past 50 years, among its many breakthroughs, DARPA helped bring us the internet, GPS, and stealth technology.